Welcome to Z Multimedia Online. Don't forget to follow us on all our socials on TikTok at Z Multimedia, LinkedIn at Z Multimedia, YouTube, ZTV, IDX, and Facebook at ZFMGH. Do enjoy this video.
With limited absorption into formal employment. In fact, various labor estimates actually suggest that youth unemployment and underemployment remains significantly higher than the national average, especially in urban centers where competition is intense and opportunities are limited. But beyond the statistics are real people, skilled, educated, and eager, yet still struggling to be able to find stable and meaningful work. And so today we ask a very critical question: what practical solutions are actually or can actually create more jobs in Ghana? What practical solutions can create more jobs in Ghana? And I'm joined this morning by Sharif Gali. Now, Sharif Gali is a business policy and youth development expert. He is also the CEO of Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. I hope I got that right. Sharif, good morning. You're welcome to the Business Breakfast on Z.
Good morning, my brother. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Sharif. You're welcome to the Business Breakfast on Z.
Thank you, brother, and thank you for picking up this very important topic.
Thank you too for also deciding or agreeing to be a part of our conversation this morning. I understand you are also at is it Ghana Youth Federation or so?
Yes, Ghana Youth Federation, yes.
Oh, okay. All right, great. So, I mean, you fit in perfectly to have this conversation with us this morning. So, maybe first of all, when we talk about youth unemployment in Ghana, we often hear statistics everywhere. But I want to bring it down to the reality or to reality for a moment. In your view, what do you think we are dealing with beyond the numbers?
All right, my brother, thank you. Once again, good morning to your listeners. Happy to be here. But then when we talk about youth unemployment, we are talking of one of Ghana's, and not just Ghana, the whole of Africa, one of the pressing issues that has been prevailing for years and years on ending. And it's not just one particular time, but it has been there. And we've been talking about, we are talking about young people not being able to be meaningfully engaged in anything economically. When I talk about anything economically, either they are empowered to start their own business or they have a job to do. And like you said, every year 250,000 to 300,000 graduates leave our various universities. And just out of this 200, or let's just say 300,000, only 10% is able to be engaged in the public sector. It's understandable that the public sector is not cut out for employment. But over the years, government upon government and politicians have put on themselves that hat of creating jobs when in essence it's not actually their responsibility. And you see, the unemployment issue is not just limited to youth getting jobs. Actually, what we don't see is that over 70% is actually a bigger issue on underemployment. Even those with jobs are not paid well. So it's a whole big thing that we will need to look out for, because Ghana, we have over 13 million youths according to data. And out of this, you are talking about government only being able to engage 10% of that. That is the whole number. So going forward, we have a system where at least every 10 young people you see, just about 2-3 of them will have jobs. Every 10 young people you see. This is how big it's going to look at. And you can look at the World Bank data on youth unemployment. Recently, they mentioned it. IMF has also mentioned that one of Ghana's biggest issues is youth unemployment. And so for me, it's a very big issue. Like you said, it's not just numbers, it is a reality. We have young people leaving school with PhDs. Some are leaving school, brilliant young people, but there is nowhere to fit them in. And like you said, I wouldn't want to take the meat out of the pot because we'll be going into details.
Right.
But for now, this is how it looks like, and this is how dangerous it is for us as a country. We would have to do a lot to be able to turn around, because people always say this is a ticking time bomb. It's not a joke. It's true. Because when a young person who doesn't have anything to do all the time go to sleep with an empty stomach, I keep saying this, the next morning they wake up and they are looking for what to eat, and so they do not listen to anything. So such a young person can be coerced to do anything, and don't blame them if they get involved in anything. But we don't pray that we get there. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Right. You talk about a very important thing. I mean, mentioning the fact that people have PhDs and all of that. The understanding that I have got from people who have engaged is that is now the new escape from just sitting idle. People are pursuing higher education not because they want it or not because they need it for some sort of employment or anything, but because they don't have anything doing, they have to now go and pursue higher education. Is that what you also see?
Oh yes, yes. It is happening. I see people when you go to universities, you even see a course like law, which has become the second highest unemployed sector, where most of lawyers are not employed. You see people going there, and when you ask them, most of them tell you, if I don't do it, I don't have a job, so let me just continue getting the certificate. You are right, and you are totally right. That is what is happening, and that is a disappointing thing we are talking about, because it has come to a point where the young person just don't want to sit idle. So the little they have, or their parents, some of them, they just want their parents to feel like it's because I'm still going to school, that's why I haven't gotten a job. So they'll push their parents to get them into to do law or to do PhD or all of these big ones, just to buy time. And you see, the disappointing is that even after that, they still do not have a job. So you are right. You are right. That's what is happening. Yeah.
I see. But from where you sit, would you say that the unemployment situation, say over the last 5 to 10 years, would you say that has improved? Has it worsened, or maybe simply changed shape a little in the past few years?
Well, I think it has worsened. Just that in 2015, 2025 rather, when NDC came, I think that because of the radical employment tactics they came in, it reduced from 13.8 to about 12.8. But unfortunately, this year it increased again early this year. And I always say that is what happens when politicians run to temporary measures. We use temporarity in bringing relief for the people. And you see, when you come out with temporary relief, it doesn't last. Within a few months, then you see that things are changing. So the only time it got better was 2025, and for this year it has gone back to 13.1. And politicians will always look for excuse. And like I said in my earlier submission, it is because it is not the responsibility of politicians to create jobs. And I know people always contest this, because everywhere you go, in Germany, in other countries that are doing well, politicians have no business creating jobs. What they do is to enable the environment for the sector that employs close to about 80% of unemployed youth, which is the private sector. They support the private sector to create the jobs. But you see, the first thing every politician will promise a young person is that we are going to make sure you get a job. How? They don't even know how. No politician can tell you practically how they can create jobs. And I don't blame them, because if they themselves understand their job is not to come and create jobs. How much can the public sector employ? They can't but few. Everybody knows that when it comes to real jobs, to creating jobs, you use the private sector, or you empower the youth to do their own business. But that is not what we are doing. So it's not getting any better. If anybody say that, oh, it's now getting better, the person is lying. But there is hope that something good can come out of it. If 2025 were able to do it, to reduce it as it was in 2024, it was very high and it was reduced. Now it's gotten back higher. It means that what they did in 2025, what actually did they do? You know what happened? How could they? How can we sustain on that going forward?
Going forward.
So yes, if not, it would increase because the number of young people keep increasing, and now a lot of young people, because of this free senior high school, are going to universities and becoming graduates. That's what we don't see. It's a whole system.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying people shouldn't go to school. No, let's allow those who come to go to school. But you also need to understand that the more graduates you have, the more white collar job seekers you are producing. And so this will balloon your unemployment rate. So what will you do about it? You need to move away from temporary relief to structural reforms in the whole system. We need to sit down, understand from the start to the point what actually causes youth unemployment. What are the measures we can put in place structurally, not just temporary, so that as we go forward, we are able to solve this problem and reduce the number to at least a single digit as we used to have in this country.
I see. Very interesting. And I want us to go deeper, and we're going to come to the solutions. I know you have quite a number to share with us this morning. Let's go a bit deeper. Now, we often hear that, we hear employers actually say that the graduates are not job ready, quote and unquote. Do you agree with that? And if yes, where exactly is the disconnect coming from?
I agree to that 50%. And the reason I say that is I'm a private person myself. I employ young people and I lead a lot of young entrepreneurs who also employ people. And when employers tell you graduates are not ready, number one, what are employers looking for? They are looking for mostly one thing, and that is the skill to think, innovate, and be able to handle things on their own. Most of our graduates are remote controlled. They want to be remote controlled, just like a TV station. If you don't tell them to be on, they will never be on. And you see, no employer really employers don't care about your master's degree. But somebody who has his money and has his business, you come to show him what with your PhD. They don't really care.
Right.
They want people that can be able to take up work without them and do the work as they would expect it to be. But most of our people, I don't want to say, with all due respect, that we are not churning out thinkers, but that is what I beg to say. We are not churning out thinkers. We are churning out people who will take instructions. And that is what we have. And so no employer don't want that. The reason why we keep telling the young people that, or we keep telling the whole system that the graduates you bring are not ready to work. It's not that they are not necessarily ready to come to work every morning from 9 to 5. No, they are ready to come. But the work we want them to do is not about coming to work every morning to evening. It is about coming there and being able to think, take initiative, and deliver. This is what we are looking for. Every private person will tell you, I don't care about your PhD. I care about how you understand the work, and the work that I'm giving you, you can be able to do it even without me being there to supervise or tell you. And that is where we are lacking. That thinking outside of the box, even thinking within the box, we still don't have them. That is a bigger issue. So we that is, if an employer tells you that, they literally means that. The other small things are the human side. I can tell you that 70% of employers look out is the human side of the young person. Talking about honesty, talking about how they carry themselves, how they even relate with human beings, their human relationship. These are the things private sector is looking for, not necessarily whatever technical skills are in your head. I have employed, a machine engineer in my office who became a project officer and did very well. Somebody who did this oil machine engineer from Takoradi, He has nothing to do in the sector I am. But the guy is so diligent, he's able to carry out every work, no matter the discipline or the training, the background he's coming from, he's still able to deliver. And this is what private sector is looking for. So more on the human side, and thinking outside the box is part of the human side. We are looking at that more than even your skill that you gain from school. But you see, school doesn't teach you all of this. They don't teach you what do you call it, critical thinking. They don't teach you human relationships. I said maybe you are doing a course that is about marketing and all of that. They don't teach you, how to carry yourself and all of those things in workplace. So this is actually why when employers tell you the youth are not ready, they are not ready. There are other small issues like the expectation of the young people. But that one I don't fault any young person. Every young person should have an expectation. If I have a master's degree or a PhD and I come to you and you ask me how much I expect to be paid, I will mention a figure. You understand? So if you an employer have a problem with that, then you can, that's why we always negotiate. But employers too hate to hear young people mentioning big figures and all. I don't want any young person to feel small for knowing their worth and for mentioning. These are not the things that are, for me, they are peripheral. They are not more into the system. The major things are their thinking, critical thinking, how innovative they are, how they carry themselves, their human relationship, their ability to be able to do work without being supervised. These are the things employers look out for. If you have all of this and your charge is big, an employer will still pick you because employers employ not just to get work done, but to give them delivery to focus on other things. Somebody to come in and allow this CEO or founder also have a peace of mind that he can wake up and say, okay, I'm taking my kids out, or I am going on a holiday because I have you there who can manage things. This is why they say that.
Very interesting. But the problem, what I want to understand also is whether the problem is a matter of curriculum or exposure. You talk about not being taught critical thinking and a lot of other things. And I'm wondering whether it is a matter of the curriculum that we are operating with. And that's it's not to talk about just the university level, right, from our basic school through to the top, to tertiary. Is it the curriculum or the execution? I want to know your thoughts on that.
So this is a very brilliant question, and I have to be, let me state my position. You see, to a large extent, controversially, I don't have a problem with our curriculum at the moment, because that is the same curriculum that has taught you and I, and we are here today. Even though a little tweak would have helped. But over the years, industry has been asking of that little changes. All of us have seen the gap. We've been talking about incorporating into our young people practicality, the real world issues, how they should face them. But we haven't seen that. And I can tell you that over the years, I have come to also understand that if we are not getting that done, then let's change one thing. Let's change the mode of delivery. So if you look at our mode of delivery, and I think one thing at a time. If we can work on our mode of delivery, then we can be able to finally augment our curriculum going forward. Why do I say mode of delivery? We still have school system teach people in classroom for more 7 hours, 8 hours a day, or 6 hours, whatever the hours are. And we let them go home. The next morning they come again, we put more in their head. They go again, we put more in their head. At the end of the term, we test them, and then we say they are good students, these are not good, and that mode of delivery is the problem.
Yeah.
It is a problem because the young people, whether you like it or not, are consistently bombarded with information that every day they have to battle with about 6 to 7 courses every semester. And then they come to write no practical testing, no time for them to actualize what they have learned or to practicalize what they have learned. But elsewhere in other countries, we have observed what they do. 30% classroom, 70% industry or practical. Go out there to the market. You go, if you are learning computer science, you go to the class to learn 30%, then the 40% of your credit hours, that is what the universities and the other schools use to give you marks, is done with an industry. You learn coding, go and work with a tech company. The tech company takes you as an intern. It is also part of your class. So you are learning the practical. You are not just sitting in classroom for 6, 8 hours and being taught, and then all of us, a computer science student don't even know what Excel is, don't even know what PHP is, don't even know what HTML. You know, just say we are not just giving the people the practical sense of it. Somebody tell you, oh, I heard of it. One of our lecturers mentioned it in school. Somebody who did computer science that is supposed to know some of these things don't know.
Yeah.
So the reality is that it is not just about curriculum. It's about the delivery. If we can move, let's take it one after the other. If we can move to work on how we deliver, so that we focus more on the industry training, because industry will teach you how to think critically, how to innovate, how to solve real life problems, not just the classroom way of sitting down, teaching, asking questions, answer, come and they test you and go. So my brother, let's pick it one at a time. I so much want to say that now, as a youth leader, I took over the Ghana Youth Federation, as you mentioned. One thing I told the minister in the board meeting where I sit, the minister advisory board, I said that I think that you have to advocate collectively for a change in our delivery of education. I am not saying this curriculum is bad. It has helped us. It is who that has. It's that same curriculum that has made all of us who we are today. Yeah. But then the delivery is the problem. Let's change it, and then we can augment our curriculum going forward.
Okay, let's move on. There are quite a number of things to talk about this morning. So let's move on to. But you make a very good point about the execution, and I see a particular man in this country, Patrick Ewua, who is doing amazing with University. Yes, doing excellently well with that. You know, trying to bring out people who are thinkers and leaders and all of that. And sometimes it makes me question the kind of mindset we even have in building institutions, you know, because if you listen to that man, he tells you that his focus is to be able to raise leaders, not just political leaders, but he's raising people who are leaders in entrepreneurship, leaders in every field that they find themselves. And so that is what the mindset is from the word get-go. But unfortunate thing is that some of our institutions, we are only focused on just providing education. And that is all. We are an education institution, and so that is all. We just provide education. Whatever the people become, we don't think about it. But he looks like the end goal, which I think is very, very important. And just to buttress your points that you make, now let's move on to talk about some of the government programs and policy realities. Now, you and I know that Ghana has introduced several youth employment programs. We can talk about NAPCO, YEA modules. We can talk about so many other things. What has worked and what has not? And why do many of these programs struggle to create long-term jobs?
All right. Most of the government programs, on paper, they are technically wise and they sound better. They look promising. But when it comes to implementation, that is where we do not get the results or the impact out of it. And frankly speaking, most of the government youth employment programs are temporary measures, just like I said in the beginning.
Yeah.
And we, as a country, do not need temporary reliefs or interventions. We need structural changes in the whole system so that we can be able to solve this canker. But if you look at YEA models, YEA in itself it creates temporary, jobs, and cannot even sustain them. Going forward, cannot even pay salaries. So it was just created to create some kind of holding water strategy. Okay, use this cup to hold this water for now, whilst we see what happens later, and then that is it. So that is basically what the youth programs were all. You mentioned one, NAPCO. NAPCO was one of them. Brilliant idea. but a temporary one and poorly implemented. I love the NAPCO idea because the NAPCO had a connection to what we call a private sector,
Yeah.
where if you are a private business and sometimes hiring costs is a problem, hiring costs when you employ people and you can't pay, then NAPCO will give you beneficiaries to work with whilst government pay them for 3 years. And then after the 3 years, you as a business, you take them up. That was it's brilliant, brilliant. I've seen it work in other countries. But unfortunately, it wasn't implemented well and it collapsed. So most of the government programs, even though very good in paper and look promising with all honesty, at the end of the day, they are temporary and they are not sustainable. And so something that is temporary and not sustainable, well, how do we even measure it whether it is impactful or not? Because it's just for a moment, and when that moment is gone, that is it. We do not have exiting plan for beneficiaries. We do not have connecting plan for beneficiaries. So they go in and then they themselves are wondering what next. And at the end of the day, poor monitoring. Most of them don't even go and do the work. So the government programs have been good. That will be my answer for you on paper, but they are temporal, they are not sustainable, and so they do not create the lasting impact we need. And then for that reason, we would, as a state, have to move from temporary relief or programming to what I keep on saying, the structural things that can be in our system. And let me be honest with you. Government programs I have observed. I read a book that talks about we solving human beings always solve issues at the problem stage. We get solution at the problem stage. What it simple means is that we wait until there's a problem, then we are solving it at that moment. You know that way you don't solve the problem. You are just solving a temporary thing, right?
Yeah.
You can come in, push money into the system, employ young people, but in the next month, more are coming out. So we shouldn't keep on solving issues at the problem state, but rather at the system structure state, so that what is we can be able to solve the problem from the system, so that when young people are leaving school, they have a system they pass through that can create jobs for them after national service. This is next, this is
Yeah.
that. Then we are able to create the jobs for them. So that is it with government programs. But it's also better because once a while it comes to solve problems, but not sustainable, and we need to be able to look into it going forward.
So, what do you think government's priority should be if we are serious about creating jobs? You talk about the private sector earlier. Maybe you can elaborate more on that.
Yes, so I would take this one after the other. First thing, not just only government, I would want to box everybody together as a state, because
Okay.
I don't think that we should leave our faith in politicians alone, because they can do but a few, they can do to their strength, but they cannot necessarily change all the things except every other person. All of us are interested in it. So, first of all, we need as a state to fix the education and industry disconnect. Government should focus on that. You see, the most fundamental problem of this youth unemployment is that universities are producing graduates for jobs that don't exist at a scale, while industries are crying out for skills they can't find. And that is it. Industries are looking for skills we can't find, but universities are not producing this for us. So the fix is not going to be complicated. It requires mandatory industry curriculum input, so employers can co-design what will be taught. Sit with industry, ask them the skills they need, and teach these young people. Like I was telling you, critical thinking, what do you call it? Innovation, the human relationship, all of these things. Ask industry what they need, and then you can deliver. That is one that we need as a nation to work on. So I have been proposing the national internship credit system, where young people are allowed to do a internship, and they are given some credit hours that will be added to their university scoring, or whatever you call it. This way, it's not just sitting in classroom and coming out with first class, but you have a practical aspect of it that you are ready to work in any industry when you move out. The other one will be to first of all scale TVET aggressively. You see, there's a current program by government I love so much, National Apprenticeship Program. Not because I sit on the NYA board, because NYA is actually implementing it, but the program, if you look at the vision around it, it's so deep that we need as a nation to focus on it. It can become a turning point for our country. You see, training every young person on a hand skill. You know what I mean, hand skill. It could be barber, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Those skills, electrician, plumbing. It would in future help because when we are not able to create more jobs for them, these young people would live on the skill they have learned. Imagine I was a barber. I have always loved to learn. I even went, with everything I do, I went sometime to go and learn how to barber. Because it's, for me, it was just it's a hobby thing, even though time couldn't permit me because of work. But I wanted to have a skill.
Right.
In Nigeria, I went there to speak at a program last year, and they had a program called One Youth, Two Skills. So every young person in Ghana, education is a skill. They will teach you another skill. They are coming out with it. We can also copy it in Ghana.
Yeah.
Every young person should learn two things. Education, your normal education is a skill, right? Then let's teach you another hand skill. It could be a plumber, it could be an electrician, any other skill. You must learn it. This would help our young people to be able to have something to fall on in the event they are not getting their white collar job. And almost everything around TV, because we live in a country that is technically enhanced. So why don't we train our young people on TV? So we need to scale it aggressively. Now, another aspect that have not been targeted very well is agribusiness. You see, we need to make agribusiness attractive to the youth. Agriculture employs over 40% of Ghana's workforce, but the young people aren't going into it because it is associated with subsistence farming. You know, you farm, you feed yourself, and that is all. So we need to reframe agribusiness, the processing, the logistics, agri-tech, export packaging, coaching infrastructure. And you see, young people respond to technology and entrepreneurship framing. If you reframe it, young people will be willing to be part of it. And I have been leading the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, and I've seen a lot of young people going into the agribusiness value chain. Just that the motivation and the support is not there. If we can reframe it and allow young people to come in, I am telling you that it can create more than the 40% that is currently doing for our country. Then we also need to leverage digital economy. The digital economy, whether you like it or not, is ballooning. It's doing well for South Africa. It's doing well for Nigerians and Kenyans. You can see what is happening in other countries with digital economy when young people are they have this skill set to be able to work. I'm not only talking about content. People think when we say digital economy, it's all about content creation. No, we have young people in South Africa, in Nigeria, that are coding big softwares for companies in USA. When I was with MTN as a regional sales manager, that time the system we were using were produced by Nigerian coders. So it means that we have the skill set here. We just need to help the young people to leverage the digital economy. There are some places in this country you go, there's still no internet. Before you do a phone call, you have to climb a tree or move to another place or go on certain days. It's so sad that we are still in a country where we put almost everything on the digital platform for people to apply for government programs, and some people do not have access to internet.
That's true.
So do you want them to you are indirectly taking them out of the scope. So we need to be able to work, leverage a digital economy. You wanted to say something?
Yes. So, I mean, you mentioned quite a number of things. I'd want us to, I just want to double click some of them. And the first one I'll double click is the issue about the TVET. What do you think that we can do? You talk about we encouraging young people to, apart from learning what they are learning in school, they should have additional technical or maybe vocational education. Should we, should we move toward a model like apprenticeship-based learning? And what would make it even work? What would make that system work here in Ghana?
So that exactly is the keyword I was looking for: apprenticeship curriculum, and that would work in Ghana because I don't know about maybe this generation. My time, we used to go to school. Then when you close, you still go and do your. I have done bicycle fitting before. I've done moto. Now I can fix my kid bicycle and all of those things, and it was working. We combined the school with the work. Just that, what time do you close? Maybe 3 p.m. Then you go just 3 hours or 4 hours to work, and then you close. So it didn't give us a lot of time to really focus on that skill, the hand skill. So it would work because it is something that is already happening in Ghana informally. Let's formalize it. Let's focus on the apprenticeship-based curriculum where young people do 30% theory or book and then 70% practical. If the person is learning computer science, like I said earlier on, they should go and practice that. But the other system I'm talking about, which you buttress, is that having a dual system where you learn your books, then you are given ample time to go and learn a skill, and then the education system would grade you based on these two skills.
Wow.
You are a barber, you still have a degree in philosophy or psychology or whatever it is. That is what makes you. That is one huge two skill. The education is one, and the apprenticeship that you have learned is one of them. So we can do it. It's actually happening in Ghana already. Let's just formalize it and upscale it and make it key in our system that every young person must have two skills. You go to school and then you have a skill. That in the event that school certificate is not giving you a work, you can go back and become your radio engineer. When your transformer or transmitter have a problem, this young person is trained to fix it. It will surprise you that a small transmitter from your radio that has a problem, you may need to go and bring somebody outside Ghana to fix it. I've worked in a radio before. These are the things. But when we could train our own young people to do that, and we have seen technical work to be technical because we relegated it to the ground. Oh, what is that? I cannot be a plumber. Plumber is what? But these are the people making money. My dad is a plumber, and my dad could afford anything he wants, more than those who were teachers and government workers. As I was growing up, we were living with them, because his work he's his own CEO. He can get a whole house to go and do the plumbing, and he comes home with a lot of money. I have seen it. So nobody should relegate this apprenticeship and technical work as just vocational work. No, it's not vocational. It has become part of it. Vocational work is okay when you're on vocation. What should you do? No, it has become part of it. It's now integral. Every person, young person in Ghana, should be able to have a technical skill and a vocational skill, if that is what we still want to call it, that would augment their schooling. So I can tell you that practical is working. And I've seen what the National Apprenticeship have done over the past 2 years. What they do is that if a young person is interested in a vocational skill or in an apprenticeship, then they connect you to a master craftsman. They pay the master craftsman to train you. And actually, they even pay you the learners on, I think, TNT, just to motivate you. It's a brilliant program. We need to upscale it. Unfortunately, this year, the government, Ministry of Finance, reduced the budget on such a very important key project. So we can learn from the National Apprenticeship Implementation, Ejumaware, and all of those things that are doing very well for the youth. So yes, it's something that is feasible. It's something that is viable. It's something that is desirable we can do as a country.
Now, Sharif, let me just chip in this. There's this lady that I don't know personally, but a friend of mine is connected to her. And I'm just saying that to give some, to buttress the same point you're making about people learning beyond what they are learning in school. Now, what happened was that after senior high school or junior high school, you know that period where you're waiting for your results, that period that many people waste. She leveraged that particular period to go and learn how to do manicure and pedicure. And so by the time she came to the university, she furthered education and came to the university. When she got to the university, she used to go from room to room asking people for telling people that she knows how to do it. So if anybody needs anybody to help with something like that, she's available. She started doing it small. She began to increase it. As I speak to you, this lady has 3 shops, and she didn't go to look for any job anywhere. She just leveraged that time. And so I'm just saying that to support the point about learning something beyond what we are learning in school. And she's doing very, very well today as we speak. And so that is just to encourage somebody. But Sheriff, let's also turn our attention to entrepreneurship. But just before that, let me announce the phone lines. In case you are listening to us or you just tune in, this is Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nitrebi Hammond. This morning I'm speaking with Sheriff Gali. Sheriff Gali is the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. He's also a business policy and youth development expert, and he's helping us have this conversation on unemployment in this country and what we can do, the practical solutions to actually creating some more jobs. You are free to join us on Facebook. We're streaming live at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment and we'll read them for you. Also, you can send me a WhatsApp on 0544 321019 0544 321019. You can also call me on that same number and we'll give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. The phone lines are open 0544 321019. You can contribute to the conversation this morning. But Sheriff, let me come back to you. Now, we often say that young people should also create jobs and not wait for jobs. How realistic is that? I mean, you lead the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. How realistic is that? Are young people getting the resources to be able to start their own jobs? What is happening?
Yes, when we say young people should create their own jobs, but I say that what else do we expect? Because if we are not getting the white-collar jobs we are looking for, if private sector is not pushing to create more jobs, then the young person would have to create their own jobs. That is the only way. And I can see that if you ask me to rate all the interventions we have mentioned, that should be the first one, which is youth entrepreneurship. We need to propel, we need to support, we need to scale youth entrepreneurship as a country. And that is what is needed. Just that not all of us can become entrepreneurs, but I always say that every one of us want to be like Aliko Dangote and the rest. So it means that entrepreneurship is the way. So it is one of the surest way to be able to solve youth unemployment if young people look at setting up their own businesses. But back to your question, the support. There have been a lot of support for youth entrepreneurship. The whole youth entrepreneurship ecosystem is an amalgamation of all players, like government, like the academia, the private sector, trade associations like us, the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, and the rest. Each and every one of us have a role to play in that ecosystem. And when we are not playing those roles, then the young people are not able to create their own jobs or be able to sustain their own work or businesses. Here is where government plays a role. Government has always come in with funding to support youth to scale up. Over the years, we have seen government interest going into training. Government is training young people. Government is funding them again and all of that. It's fine because this is what we need. If government want to do all of the work in the ecosystem, that's brilliant. However, we understand that no single person can do all the work. We need to partner with academia. We need to partner with the private sector. I've seen quite some few changes these few years. Recently, I don't know if you're aware, we have the Jumawara that is implemented by NEIP. That seeks to train 10,000 youth every year and then give funding to about 2,000. Last year cohort, they actually overdid because they gave over 3,000 young people instead of 2,000, and they trained 10,000. And then this year, it would be the same thing. But this year, another thing they did was to partner with the academia to launch seed program. They call it student entrepreneurship program, which is brilliant. But you see, my problem with these programs, again, is the temporal nature of which they are. Because after this government, these programs may be discontinued. Even if they are not discontinued, the government can say next year that that's not my interest. So I'm not focusing on a Jumawura. My interest is a big project. My interest is Agenda 1 or whatever. Government can change their mind because they need to put in money where they can get a lot of what do you call it, impact from, so that they can get leverage in the next election. That is the problem. That is where we face an issue. So at the moment, the program that is implementing the Jumawura, a program implementing program, that is NEIP, National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, it's not even an agency. That means we haven't paid serious attention to the structure thing we are talking about.
Yeah.
How long can we continue using temporal programs to implement temporal programs? There's no sustainability and there's no hope. But imagine NEIP become Youth Entrepreneurship and Innovation Agency. That has come to stay by law. Their work is defined. They are able to go out and look for more funding. I am telling you that it would be a turning point, because at this point we have the agency fully given the responsibility to think and create solutions for young people, not this temporary program. We have seen MPP did You Start, brilliant initiative. How many young people benefited? They gave us figures. Where are those people who benefited? You can't even trace them. We don't want same to happen to a Jumawara. And so I am saying that we need to move all of these temporary programs into structure systems that can outlive all of us. This is what we are looking for. But I think that they have been support from the various governments, from the MPP up to NDC. I can mention a few of them. Like I said, You Start, we all heard it during MPP. NDC time, they have a Jumawara that is also doing very, very well. Unfortunately, sustainability is not there. And then they keep getting funding.
Hello?
The last one is that, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I lost you for a few seconds.
Yes. Awesome. So, apologies for that. So I was saying that these programs from governments have been very good. Unfortunately, they have reduced financing from the central government, where every year it's like they keep reducing the funding. And I ask myself why? Because whenever you launch a new program, the first year is seen as a pilot. The next year is called the second phase of skill. Then you have third skill, and then you have to scale. You keep scaling. You don't reduce it.
You don't reduce.
You don't. But here in Ghana, that is what we see with our program. So the challenges young people face, just like you asked, there are three major ones. There are a lot, but these are the three major ones. Number one is access to capital, financing. It has been a problem. I don't want us to oversing this this particular thing. But a lot of young people do not have access to funding, both from government and that of the traditional financial institutions. The traditional financial institutions like the banks, the microfinances, they see young people as high-risk business cohort. And so most of the time they don't have funding.
Yeah. And
most of these financial institutions are looking for big-ticket businesses. They want to loan a business that they can get a huge interest from. Not you, the 100,000, 200,000, 50,000 businesses. That is the banks. Microfinance, they do, but microfinance rules are not also favorable to the young people. Now, when we talk of government financing, government has also tried their best, but what has happened is that over the years, government funding intervention has been characterized with nepotism, political favoritism, and all of those things. Even though this year, getting involved with a Jumawara, I have seen how open the system has been, or they try to be, and I think that we should toe that lane. And I keep telling the leadership of that program that you need to continue to make sure that the ordinary Ghanaian believe in government program this time around, and not to make it look like you need to belong to one political party before you can get the funding. The second problem the young people face is access to market. When a young person is able to battle financing and now they are doing well, they are producing, they can't go to market because they have to go and compete with big industry players that you dare not even compete with.
Right.
Imagine you are creating a program that is a product that is already created by another person, like shea butter product. How can you compete with a big company that is already on the shelves in almost every shop? It's difficult. And so we need to create deliberate market access for these young people. That is why for us as the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, every year we do the National Young Entrepreneurs Summit to create awareness and market opportunity for these young people. We do trade facilitation where we take young people to participate in trade missions outside of Ghana so that we can give them a platform to also be able to sell to other markets. AFCFTA is here with about 1.2 billion market size. How are we propelling our young people? AFCA is gradually becoming a slogan as well. How is Africa propelling the young people to be able to leverage this market? It is by deliberately supporting these young people. I always give an example. If you go to Kumasi, I have young entrepreneurs who are members of the chamber that, bro, if you see the kind of shoe they make in Ghana, you would think it's from Italy or any other country, but it's made in Ghana. I wear made in Ghana shoes. Why are we not supporting these young people deliberately? Why are we not saying that all the boot for our security services, we are giving it as a project or a contract to these young people, put them together as a cooperative, let them develop a big factory and work in there to deliver for this country. This is the limit market for young people. The last one the young people face, which is more personal on them, because when you talk about the grandfather, you talk about the grandchild as well. We are talking about their skill set. You see, it's not just about having access to market. It's not just about having a business. Not just about having funding. It's very important to have the capacity to manage and grow a business. Most of our young people lack that, and so most of them go get funding and they just spend them. They think that the moment they get funding, the next thing is to upgrade their look, is to upgrade their phones and everything, and then defeat the purpose. So they are no more focusing on the business. And I can tell you that over my 10 years of working in this ecosystem, I have known some young entrepreneurs that are still young entrepreneurs, and they are still where they are, simply because they are very good at pitch. So they go to every pitch opportunity and they win.
Right.
We have a name now for them in the ecosystem, pitchpreneurs. So they are pitchpreneurs. Every government program they will apply, every donor partner program they will apply, simple because they are able to talk, get the money, and that is all. So we need to build the capacity, and the young person need to sit down and tell themselves the reality that, hey, you need to learn more about how to manage business, how to scale a business, how to sustain your business. We want young people to do globally sustainable and competitive businesses, not just a business, a tortoise kind of a business that is at one place and it's never growing, it's never also shrinking. Highest it shrinks, it doesn't really grow. So the capacity of the young people, and this is where academia, ourselves as a trade association, we play a role.
Right.
Training these young people, bringing the capacity building to them. If these three things can connect, my brother, then youth entrepreneurship would become something good for young people to take. It will become something that young people will be willing to go in, and when they go in, they will become successful.
Right.
But if all these three things are disconnected and they still keep facing this challenge, then we are not going anywhere. And that is currently where we are now at the moment as a country.
Right. Sharif, thank you very much for your time. Unfortunately, our time is up and we have to go. Maybe in 30 seconds, if there's a young person listening to us who has lost hope, who has probably giving up, because of the unemployment situation, they feel discouraged. What practical advice will you give them today in 30 seconds?
Thank you, brother. That thing, hope, losing hope shouldn't be part of our dictionary as a young person. Because no matter what you do, you would always face challenges, and it is normal in human life. If you don't face challenges, then things are not good. It is normal for once a while to face the challenges. It's normal to fall down. It's normal to be disappointed in the system. But those who agree to the definition of the system for them become doomed forever. And I don't want you to be doomed forever as a young person listening to me now. You have in it what it takes to create, to become the next Dangote, the next Ibrahim Mama, the next Kwame Despai. You have in you what it takes to do that. So do not give up the hope. Look at what others have gone through, and today they are where they are. Just think outside the box. Consult, get connected, get to know people, network, and you will definitely be able to find a solution to your problem. Nobody is born to be on the bottom forever. You are not born to be down there forever.
Right.
You have something great in you. Look out for opportunities every single day. Look for them as if you were not disappointed yesterday, and you will definitely hit on it one day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sheriff Gali. Really grateful that you made time to join us this morning, and thanks for sharing your insights.
Thank you very much.
Do enjoy the rest of your day. All right. So that was Sheriff Gali. Sheriff Gali is the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, and also he's a policy, business, and youth development expert. And he joined us this morning talking about the youth unemployment situation. He's giving us a lot of solutions, and I think that if we're able to follow through, we'll be able to achieve the solutions that we are looking for. And so that's how we wrap up today on the Business Breakfast on Z. We are back again tomorrow for some more interesting conversation. Tomorrow we have a conversation on advertising. If you're a business owner, I think this is a conversation you shouldn't miss. So let's join us tomorrow at exactly 6:15 a.m. and we'll serve you that right here on the show. But my name is Nitrebi Hammond. Until tomorrow, please take care of yourself. And when you think Ghana, think Z. Up next is A Brighter Side with Jeremy.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And also do follow us on all our socials. On TikTok at Z Multimedia, LinkedIn at Z Multimedia, YouTube at ZTV, IDX, and Facebook at ZFM GH.